Damn. Yo, Moo time here. Crazy hair, Moo.
Ooh, looking like eraser. No, I'm kidding. Yo, it's Michael McGarry, Eraserhead.
Yo, it's Brendan Mascherino.
Yo, it's Cam Cave Crawler Crawford here.
And it's Mason Coburn. What's up?
Yo,
Hey.
how's it going?
Rip Jesse.
Always.
Yeah, no,
we
we'll
got
get
a packed episode,
hmm
and yeah, we'll take from there. So first we'll go through an unavoidable topic. There have been many protests and riots over in the Black Lives Matter movement, and we thought we would offer our thoughts on the entire situation. Would anyone like to begin?
Sure. So I think the best a lot of we can do is just to remain aware and informed. You see a lot of things, lists of what you can do. You can, send emails. There are a lot of pre-filled out emails that you can send, for example, to Minneapolis, where you can demand, justice for Floyd, et cetera, et cetera. Donating to bail funds and certain community organizations. They have Google Docs with lists for, cities across the nation. And then reading up on stuff, just becoming more aware. And honestly, I think that's some of the best stuff you can do.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I'd like to add to that by saying, as Mason said, obviously, none of us, out of the five of us, are Black or identify as Black. So we've not lived a Black experience. So as allies who support our Black friends, we got to do, as Mason said, listen, learn, educate ourselves, and also this is kind of a separate entity. I'll just say it needs to go beyond social media. Posting on social media, it's a great first step. It's not really activism, and there are other ways to help the cause. Like Mason said, sign petitions, read books, watch movies, listen. But the racial issues in the United States are extremely problematic, to say the least. And this is nothing new. It's been happening for hundreds and hundreds of years. And just got to be open to listening and helping in ways that we're able to.
Well said, Cam.
Thanks, Brendan.
Great stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into full depth on every single thing I think about in the situation just because I'll save that for a different platform. What I will say is that all these crimes, wait, am I lagging?
You're good, man.
Yeah, there you
go. All these crimes and police injustices have been absolutely horrible, and change needs to be made. And I'm in full support of the protest and rioting and whatnot too, because if that's how our Black community is going to get their voice heard, then that's what's essential. And I'm not going to tell them how to act because I don't know the experience. Of course, we should be helping out, signing petitions, doing whatever we can to make those changes possible. On the topic of looting, we don't need to get into that too much. Looting is not a good thing when it happens to small businesses. I don't think people should be looting and destroying small businesses. And if people do decide to loot, which I don't really condone, but if people are looting, there should at least be a purpose, like loot places that are supporting hateful things and not just loot for your personal benefit and profit off the situation in a malicious way. But I'll leave it at that. The crimes are wrong and change definitely needs to happen in this country.
Yeah.
Amen.
I think a lot of people are quick to blame looting as a criminal act and an issue without addressing why people are looting and the real root of the problem, which is problematic and kind of short-sighted. You know, MLK was in favor of peaceful protesting. Malcolm X was in favor of, you know, violent protesting. Both of them ended up with bullets in the back of their head, and that's like the issue. People don't want to hear it either way. So, as Malcolm X said, by any means necessary.
Exactly. Brendan, Michael, you guys want to chime in on anything?
I mean, I was going to say, I mean, you guys, I completely support what you through Mason, Cam, and Moo have said. I think it's really, really important and valuable words you guys have. I would just say, like, a really important thing you can do too is just, like, pray for people and just think about them and just be kind, like, to everybody and respect what's going on and how people are feeling and ask people how you can help anyway. So, I mean, that's really, other than that, you guys really covered it very well. And I agree. And I think it's really good. I'm personally really, like inspired by what you guys have said, especially even like with Mason. I didn't even realize that there was like, you can donate to those kind of bailing funds and stuff like that. Like I didn't even realize that was available. So I definitely want to go check that out now. So I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, with like, I know like social media, it's hard. Like myself, I go on social media, and it's like you swipe through like all these black photos, and it's like, wow, why are people doing this? But now I'm starting to realize like why, and they're really trying. It's like a huge amount of the population that is, I guess, involved in this, and they all want to share their opinions, which I think is really cool. And I think it's very important for other people to like, I guess, read upon other people's opinions and views, and inform themselves of all different viewpoints to see if maybe theirs isn't fully what it should be or what it could be. But I definitely learned a lot just from like hearing you guys talk about different situations. Like I didn't know there was like donations that you can make to it, like Michael said, and yeah, I think it's really important to inform ourselves of something like this because it is history, and the world has gone through it for hundreds and thousands of years. So
Yeah. And on a more positive note, the George Floyd Funeral Fund has raised over $8 million.
Wow. That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so as you know, the podcast doesn't usually get what people are calling political, but I think this certain issue goes beyond politics, so
Definitely.
we thought we'd chime in on that. And
Mhm.
depending on the state of affairs, by next week we might add some more, and my recommendation might tie into the topic, so we'll update you on our further thoughts. But that's where we stand as of now.
Cool.
Um, Now, how do we want to approach our upcoming stuff? Do we want to go movie straight in, or do we want to talk about something else real quick?
I guess I got like a little mini story kind of thing I could share if you want, and a little video. I thought Cam might want to hear this one. You guys were all involved in the origin of this product usage, but as a while you guys already know, like the pink hat has been a thing since March 1st of last year, kind of like, you know, me and Moo got those for our set of Lucky, and I had lost mine. And like a few months after the shoot, and it was missing, and I had been looking in my basement for so long, I didn't know where it was, and it drove me freaking crazy, just to be blunt about that. It really did drive me crazy, and because it meant a lot to me, that hat, you know, it really freaking did. And it was gone, and I thought for sure that it was stolen. I really thought it was. But then I was like, no, that's just my nasty heart. Is something's coming over. I'm like, I can't be blaming people. Because I was with 3 individuals that night that it was gone. So I was like, nah, okay. So I kept looking and never found it. So Cam graciously donated his hat to me, though. His pink hat. He did. He really did. And I wore it for a long time. It was awesome, Cam. It was really good that he did that. But something happened after Brendan and I and Aiden and Steven, those are the 3 individuals that were with me. After we graduated last week, they decided to do something, basically. So I'm going to show you guys what what they
No.
did. And is it really not going to let me rotate this? Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Usually, sorry, I don't know if you guys can help me, but usually it would like let me rotate. Here we go. Here we go.
No! After 2 years. You're kidding me! That's the hat!
Wait, he knows it's
Yes,
over.
yes, you took it that night with the Polaroid. You took it home? Yeah. You took it home. We've been planning this the whole time. This is not, this is fake. This is fake. No, it's not. This is it? Yeah, that's it. It's yellow now. Oh my. It's like, it smells like Aiden's house or something. Oh my. You guys are so good. I interrogate the crap out of you guys. It's been in my closet.
Yeah, there you go. that was the donation. That was the final return. But yeah, it's back. This is it. This is that
Bring
hat.
him over the
So,
return.
yeah, I know it's not that big of a deal. It's just like a hat, but like I thought it was pretty freaking crazy. They actually did have it, and it was in Aiden's closet for like, I don't know why I said 2 years, because it was literally only like a year and a half. But you know, it felt like 2 years.
Aiden'd
I
be
don't
like,
think it was it a year?
It was
It was
definitely a year. Yeah. Well, maybe not. Maybe I think it was. I think it was like around a year that it was been gone. Like I feel like June is when I probably lost it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously, like March, we got it, but I think I lost it around June, which is like this time. I feel like that's when it happened, but maybe not. Maybe it was later. Maybe I had it for a longer amount of time. I don't know. It was definitely last year that it was gone, though. So.
you want to tell us the story of how Menthol's booned it?
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brendan, you know more about it than I do. Yeah.
Oh, I know the full story.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell
So we were all down in Michael's basement, and I forget where you went, Michael. You were gone for like
yeah,
a split second.
I went
But-
away. Yeah, I don't know where I went.
You went like upstairs or something, or into your room, and we were in the
Yeah.
kitchen, and you left your pink hat like downstairs on the couch, and we all walked upstairs, and Steven had grabbed it without you seeing, and we left your house because you had to go somewhere, and we took a Polaroid of Steven wearing your hat
Yeah.
down on your couch, and we left it on your counter as an Easter egg to basically say like, hey, guess what? We have it, but you don't know we have it, and now it's gone, and we'll give it back to you in like a week. That was the initial thought. We were just gonna like spook him, and then so we have the hat. We left Michael's house. Steven whips it out and he puts it on. He's like, look what I got. And we're like, no way. And he like took it out of Michael's house without him knowing. Aiden and I didn't even really know he had it until we left his house. And we walked out. We're like, oh, the Polaroid's going to be perfect Easter egg. He's not going to know. And we're discussing on the way up to Steven's house, up the street. We're like, what should we do with like the hat? We're like, well, we'll just give it to him in a little bit, see how crazy he goes over it. And I was like, dang, okay. And so essentially we told Aiden to hide it. And Michael, come here. I don't think you know this yet.
All right. This is where I don't know. Yeah.
The original plan, we thought about it. We made a group chat, I'm pretty sure, about one of the times with just us three. And we talked about how we can give you the hat and when we should. So I was like, oh, we'll give it to you in a week. And it was in the summertime because the pool was open. And
it must,
we were gonna talk to Vito. It's when Vito lived on Church Street, and we were gonna have him put it in his window and have it in the windowsill and just be walking up the street and be like somehow,
look there. Oh yeah.
Somehow get your attention so that you can see it in his window, and then you'd have to like knock on his door and get the hat from him. And
I would have had a heart attack, dude. I'm not even kidding. Like I would have been so confused.
So
wow.
So and just to clear things up, many of you don't know this, but before this happened, there's several times that we would steal Michael's hat and like hide it in the band room, and he would go like crazy and he would like lose it for like a day, and then he would find it somewhere in the band room. So this was like the ultimate like riot.
A roll
This is
on
the
it.
height. And yeah, and we gave it to Aiden because we're like, you keep it because he won't suspect you have it. And yeah, Aiden ended up just like putting it under his bed or something, and it was so sketchy because one day you went like in his room, and I was like paranoid that you were gonna
Ooh,
find it,
dude,
and it was like within that week, and we're like, oh
that would've
shoot,
been
Aiden, I
scary.
hope you hit it like well, and I thought you were gonna like know that he had it and like check under his bed or
Yeah.
something, and then find it, and then time just went by and we just never gave it back. And I don't know why we didn't give it back sooner, but I remember there was times I would text Aiden and be like, yo, give his hat back now. It's a perfect opportunity. And then he'd be like, nah, we gotta wait till graduation and our principal has to give it to him, Mr. Barker. And then graduation rolled around and we couldn't give it to Mr. Barker because we were just walking across the stage and like not even communicating with him. So the only way we could give it back was to just pull it out. And it was literally a last minute decision. I was like, yo, we have to give him his hat today. Like, it has to happen. And he's like, nah, we should wait till the summer and tell Mr. Barker to give it to him, like, when we do our actual ceremony, which may not happen. So I was like, this is the only time I had to lie to Michael's parents about not knowing where it was. They, like, pulled their house apart, like, pulled their
Yeah.
couches out, looked under the
Really,
couch.
I was going crazy.
Yeah. And I know what it feels like to lose something, which sucks because in that time period, I lost like my wallet, my sunglasses, which are still missing. So many like valuable items, and it sucks really bad. So I feel really bad about it.
No, dude, it's fine. It was fine. It's okay. It just hurt a little bit. It's fine.
Oh, dude, I can't even imagine because it sucks.
Oh man. But
Just know that it wasn't supposed to last as long as it did.
That's crazy to know that.
Yeah.
Mike, when am I getting the pink hat back?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I'll gladly return yours. That was the deal. When I find mine, I give yours back, right? Wait, what?
No, nothing.
Wait,
Run
what?
that back.
Aiden be like, it was 2 years. I'm
Oh, was
like,
it Robo? Oh yeah.
It's 2 years.
Yeah, that was 2 years. That was like 45 minutes, years. Like that was like 3/4 years.
It was, but doesn't that time frame just feel like whoosh?
Yeah.
Like so short
No,
now.
actually, I mean it feels really long still. But I can understand. Like that's
No,
okay.
it feels like last weekend that we were like,
No, it doesn't.
so the heist is on.
No, it feels like 60 weeks
Taking
ago.
Michael back. What's happening?
hat was gone for like 7% of Mike's life.
Yeah. Life as of now. I was like, you just predict my life duration. What?
All right.
No. I thought you mean like you just predicted like my life like end. Never mind. Okay.
He's about to do like the calculations. What's 7% of 17?
How many years? Yeah, is 7 Anyway, but yeah, there you go. That's a little story there. I don't know if anyone else has anything.
I mean, myself, Mangini, and McGarrahan had partially something crazy, unthinkable a few nights ago. So, myself and Mangini, we occasionally watch movies over FaceTime.
It's a good time.
We usually choose like movies either that are bad / horrible, or movies that are good but you can talk through the whole thing. So I made this proposition to Mangini, like, yo, Mangini, let's do something unthinkable, something so freaking ballsy that it could kill us. And Mangini's like, oh God, what is it? And I proposed that we watch the entire Fred trilogy in one sitting. That is Fred 1, Fred the movie, Fred 2, Night of the Living Fred, and Fred 3, Camp Fred. And we started at like roughly 10:30 or whatever, and ended at 3 in the morning.
Yep.
And let me put it this way: I'll save the whole thing, but Imagine you're in the middle of the ocean and you're submerged under the water so deep that the pressure of the water is crushing your head for 4 hours straight. Doesn't even begin to describe a fraction of the pain watching the Fred trilogy in one sitting accounts for.
I
Oh,
saw
oh,
a
wait, what
trailer,
movie?
one of them a full star.
Ooh.
Yeah, so the Fred first movie was terrible.
Mhm.
All the shots were overexposed. 99% of the jokes were screaming at the end as the punchline.
Yeah.
And there were two good jokes in that movie. And the two good jokes were the one time where he digs under Judy's house and says, "Oh my gamut, I dug all the way to China."
Mm-hmm.
And the one joke where he was sending out disinvitations to people. That was kind of funny. And the John Cena scenes. John Cena saved all the movies. Fred 2, Night of the Living Fred.
That's
This
the best
one,
one. It's the best one.
it might have seemed better just because I was coming straight off of watching that atrocious Fred 1 movie. But, I wasn't like, I was able to sit down and watch it. It was obviously a garbage movie. Would never recommend anyone to go through that torture, but you can watch it. Fred 3, Camp Fred, is gotta be like the single most painful experience I've gone through in my life.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was bad.
I would not wish upon that movie on my worstest of enemies. We are talking about grade A torture here. There's not a single joke that's funny. There's a moment where Fred screams for 50 seconds straight, uninterrupted.
Mhm.
John Cena's movie for 1 second. It's horrible. It's terrible. And yeah, we survived it. Maybe we'll have Mangini on one day to recount the entire experience, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
What did they make money with that?
I don't know. Maybe at the
It
time.
was 3 of them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I
Yeah,
don't know, maybe
they
they
made
made
3.
Okay, watch this. Ready? One good movie, 3 really shitty movies. So maybe they had the budget to make one good movie,
Yeah, true.
but completely went around that and just made 3 equally.
It's ain't even a
No, no.
budget thing though.
Yeah, based on the movies, if you give
Yeah.
these people a big budget, it'd just be a bigger waste of
Be
money.
worse, yeah.
I remember
Oh.
being so freaked out by the scene with he like kicks I forget the movie completely, but I remember he kicks like a kickball into the woods.
Yeah, that's
and,
right. That's first
some-
one.
Oh, little Evan Weiss.
Yes, some
That
he
scene.
like in like a couple years he like goes into the woods and he like finds the kid and he's got like long hair and he's got the
Yeah.
ball. He's like, Fred, I got the ball.
Yeah, I got the ball, Fred. Yeah.
That was so scary. I was like scarred from going into the woods after that.
All I'm
That
saying
was
is,
a
yeah.
bullshit scene.
Dude, the guy who plays Devlin in Fred 2 is a good actor. I'm not even kidding. Dude, he's pretty good. The guy who played Mr. Devlin, man, he was pretty good.
Oh gosh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, those movies. I don't want to think about them.
So
Shall we-
was his
Oh.
appearance in iCarly like a marketing tactic?
Definitely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
I mean, his channel was huge.
it probably has to do with his deal with Nickelodeon because like all the Fred movies are Nickelodeon.
Oh,
Mhm.
So like it probably has to do with the fact that like they saw him on YouTube and they're like, "Yo, big buddy," I'm sorry, "Yo, kid, like come on, like we're gonna make movies with you. Why don't you like come on iCarly and get your name big with us?" And then people want to go see you. Like, yeah. Anyway, but I don't know. That's probably just like, yeah, it definitely has to do with that whole thing. But I don't know. That's not the movies we're talking about today, though.
Sure.
Oh, what is
Sure.
we're talking about today?
Oh, I don't know. Wait, Mason, what was that?
Said I sure hope we're not talking.
Oh
about
yeah.
Fred.
No, we're not. I don't know. Does anyone have any more stories before we get into it?
Uh,
All right.
I say there's a lot of discussion to be had with this film, so we
I think there
Yeah.
is.
straight into it.
All right. Yeah.
2005?
Yep.
Did it come
Yes.
out in 2005?
Yeah.
All right. We are talking about the Neil Marshall film, The Descent from 2005, a movie that I had also not seen before this episode. So we all have takes that none of us know about. Would like to start just general thoughts before we get into actual discussion.
What do you remember, Mason?
All
Yeah.
right. All right. I'm going to go over what I liked first and then what I didn't like so much. So first of all, I liked the sets. So apparently they had like, 12 or 19, some in the teens, like these caves specially built. Pretty cool. The atmosphere's very nice. The lighting, pretty cool. We got some nice monochrome, like we got the blues, the greens, the yellows, the reds. It's pretty cool. I liked a lot of the action. Like I thought it was pretty solid. Like, we got some nice gory stabs in there. It's like, cool, some speed stuff going on. These creatures scuttle along the walls. Like it's pretty cool. Creature design, again, like I was kind of impressed. But the rest of the movie, plot wise, character wise, jump scare wise, bro, this movie is representative of a problem I have with so many horror movies of late, which is these gratuitous ass jump scares that are just so cheap. And it's just like, do you think the audience, it's just disrespectful to the audience. Like I can't stand some of these jump scares, and it's just built on like such a shallow structure. So I gotta say there were elements I liked, but I think there are problems here. I'm gonna leave it at that for now.
Mason, I share a really similar opinion with you about that, and especially with the jump scares. Like specifically, I remember the one where like I feel like I've seen it too many. It was too freaking familiar. Where like your friend scares you, like that kind of thing. Like, and she's like, "Oh my god, you scare me so much." I thought it was like when her friend, it was Juno, scares like Sarah. I think I was just like, I remember thinking like, dude, like you got to tell me that not one person in the room or like read the script and said like no. Like or said like no, like you know what I'm saying, like how does that like let that slide? I don't know, but I mean I agree with Mason. Like I thought it like the sets are really cool.
That's in the cave. Come on, it's like what?
Oh yeah,
The CG with the bats were just
no,
I thought were
yeah,
terrible. I was
that was
like, what the
their initial appearance is so bad. Yeah, yeah.
like I like Mason, you said I love the sets, and I thought they did a very good job of working with the darkness and trying to light the scene well, even though they're in a cave. And I mean, you could tell like they had like some green lighting. They had some weird things going on with the green light because there was like other green lights in the cave not coming from the thing, but maybe that's just something that I would pick up on, and there's nothing else they can really do about that. But I was just like, I know you have like panels just hiding behind those fake rocks right there. Like, but I thought one thing I really liked was like the film grain look, um, and I also really liked the Kill Bill vibe that I got from the main character. I thought she resembled Uma Thurman a little bit when she was like in the hospital and
Oh yeah, definitely.
like in the hospital bed.
Yeah, true.
Also, some of the blood, like I guess gore scenes, I got a lot of like Tarantino-esque vibes from that with like the blood squirting out and stuff. But those are some things I like. I also really enjoyed the telephoto like rafting, whitewater rafting stuff. There's a lot of plot elements that I felt like were just paved over so quickly, and I was just like, I didn't even catch that. Like, I wouldn't have caught that on my third watch. Like, how the hell? And then I went back and I like looked up a few reviews about it, and I looked more into the plot, and I realized there's so many things like the affair Juno was having with the husband, the drug addiction that the wife has after she like lost her kid or whatever. I just like missed those little things, and some of those plot elements were just shown in like one shot, and they were hard to pick up on. But I thought there was a lot of I do enjoy the fact that there's a lot of small details packed into maybe just one shot, and you're gonna have to rewatch it and just think about it more when you watch it again.
Yeah, I think I agree with what all you guys are saying. Like something I kind of disliked about the movie was the exposition felt very long to me. I don't know if you guys felt that way, but for a movie that's only what hour 35,
Mhm.
hour 30, like it was a very long lead up to like them getting to the cave, and even so, like had a really difficult time keeping track of all the characters, which didn't matter in the end because they all died. But
Full spoilers, by the way.
Oh, yeah, full.
along with what Mason and Brendan were saying, I really like the lighting, like the red light, the green light. That was pretty fun. I don't know. It wasn't very like scary per se in terms of a horror movie. Instead, I more so enjoyed the development of I think it was Sarah is her name, as like this scared girl who got stuck at the beginning, lost her daughter, into this like evil protagonist type character. That was pretty cool.
Hmm. Yeah, I like this movie. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a fun horror movie. When the movie started, like the first 15 minutes of exposition, as you were talking, Croft, like when they were talking in the cabin and all that shit, I'm like, this is insufferable. The dialogue here is, I can't stand it. And like once they start going into the cave, I'm like, oh shit, okay. Also, yeah, I'm in 100% agreement that the false jump scares are complete bullshit.
Mhm.
When they're like in the cave and like you see the crazy production design and the lighting and it feels very claustrophobic, I'm like, ooh, yeah, this is good. And like the first real jump scare with the monster was phenomenal. One of the better jump scares I've seen when
To the camera.
yeah,
Hmm.
that
Oh,
was
cool.
fantastic scare. And like there was a good like solid 15 minutes from that scare on where I'm like, wow, this is some like next level stuff. And I appreciated how like it went in a different direction in the regard like how it sort of transitioned into an action movie. Like even though I don't think the action was necessarily amazing and whatnot, I appreciate the fact that they took their characters seriously that were and 15 minutes. They were actually like actively trying to fight the antagonist. And it makes it better thinking about it because you know that there's absolutely no hope. So it's just a really desperate attempt to survive when it's not going to happen, which I enjoyed. So I thought that there was some good things about it. There were obviously many flaws, as comes with many horror movies, but for a movie that's like a traditional horror movie, not like a different take on the horror genre, like a Hereditary, for something that's more traditional, I thought it was a pretty good movie.
I
Yeah.
also thought it was cool, kind of how in terms of conflict, it wasn't just the girls versus the monster. It was okay. Well, like one, you have these girls literally stuck in a cave, about to run out of light and food. Two, monsters. Three, like the girls kind of turn on themselves, and like it's Juno versus Sarah by the end.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like,
What were
oh,
you
sorry.
saying, Brett?
I think I've never. I love movies that I can relate with emotion wise, and obviously I get that's a given with anything, but like especially fears, for example, like this it's like a shared fear that people know that like claustrophobic caves, like small tight spaces, so sketchy, and I really like how they showed like the rocks crumbling when they're crawling through the tight space, because I'm already like sick to my stomach watching that, because I'm like imagining myself crawling through something that tight and imagining the rocks caving in on me and like dying. So the fact that they like showed that in the movie, I was like, dang, this is crazy. I was like on edge that whole time through there. And when they had to like swim up through the cave under the water and then pop back out, that stuff is just nuts, and that makes me like sick to my stomach, but I enjoy that, especially in a horror film. And I don't really watch many horror films, so getting to experience that, and not one of my first, but getting into the horror realm is very pleasantly appealing to me.
Yeah, and the production design really sells it. Like it feels like they're actually filming the cave with
Yeah,
how realistic it looks and how it's lit, where it's like very few sources of light to really emphasize the realism of the situation at that section.
Mhm.
Going off that, sorry, Cam, if I interrupted you. I think it's at its best when it's very dependent on the environment, like the no music crawling, as Brendan was saying. That scene, there's a camera right in front of her as she's like, it just feels like, oh my god, the tension is just excellent. And I think those like really pure, like gritty moments were where I enjoyed it the most. And I kind of wish it embraced more of like the psychological breakdown of her character, because as some people were saying, like it's kind of hard to track who's who at certain points. And one of the reasons why the UK ending is so good is because it's like, oh man, like this is truly hopeless. Like, and I just wish we got a little bit more of like her actual mental breakdown through the whole process. But yeah, I think the environment was like the biggest asset for this film, and you got to respect the just, you really get brought into it, and it doesn't let you go until until it's over.
Yeah, I really appreciate all the stuff they did. Like when you're talking about how they could develop the character, I did appreciate a lot of the stuff they did with like the daughter hallucination stuff.
Mhm.
I thought that stuff came across very effectively in comparison to some of the other scares in the movie. And also one of the moments that really like took me back from, in most horror movies don't really give me like, oh shit, but when Juno like turns around and stabs the one chick through the throat by accident thinking it was a monster, I was like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, that
Crazy.
caught me off guard. I was like, holy crap.
And then they use that later for the conflict, because people are like she she has to kind of play it off like, I don't really know what happened, like I just witnessed it. And it's crazy because you could see Juno like kind of have that thing where you're not telling everything. She's not like, she didn't like lie about it, she didn't say she didn't kill her, but she just said like, I watched it happen and stuff like that. I remember hearing that stuff. It's like that dramatic irony. I remember feeling like, oh my god, but I saw her stab her, it's like whole, like that, you can feel it inside. It's like, that's, man, that was crazy stuff. Like also the special effects in camera stuff was really good in my opinion, especially when that girl breaks her leg. Like, dude, I mean, like, I don't know if it was that really good. I haven't really seen a leg break that much in movies, but like I was really, really uncomfortable to the point of like, there were many times where I was looking away thinking like, I might throw up literally in a second right now. Like, I remember there was a lot going on at that time, and like it was disgusting. But yeah, a lot of cool effects with just like how they got damaged, honestly, like their bodies, like pretty crazy stuff. Like especially when they're getting like, the girl was getting like eaten apart. Like that was messed up, but enough to like make you like, they really made it scary. It's like crazy looking.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, Cam, you go.
I have a question real quick. So they actually had a lot of shots and like extended shots of the monsters. Do you think that took away at all from the fear factor?
Yes.
Because that's how I was feeling. Like if they had shown like short little clips of like the monsters and left it more to the imagination, they probably would have been scarier.
Approach.
Yeah.
I almost didn't even like how they did that thing where, oh, sorry, but like in the beginning where like, I think they were coming down and you just see it like crawl at the top of the screen, like one of the things. I almost like kind of felt like that was even too much to like, wait, I just saw like the threat. It's almost like it just took it away. Like nothing's happening. I just saw it and it's fine. I don't know.
I enjoyed I liked all the stuff when they were shot in like the shadows, and that's why I'm saying like there was a section for 15 minutes after that first jump scare where I'm like, this is incredible, because it was often masked by the shadows, but then towards like the green light stuff and all that, you get like clear actually lit shots of the monsters, and I'm like, all right, well, now that you can actually see all the makeup effects, it's not as effective. Whereas when it's shadowed, it's like you can't even decipher what the effects are.
I like how unlike many other movies, like in Stranger Things, I know it's a show, but like shows and movies that have like monsters in them, you don't know what they're capable of, because like in like Super 8, and you don't know what they're, like I said, what they're capable of. But in this movie, they resemble humans, and you're questioning the whole time, why and how are they different than humans are. And like in like I said, like Stranger Things, you don't really know what they are, where they come from, but you know there's some similarities between humans and these monsters. And so that kind of brings into the fear factor. It's like, oh shoot, like they're higher than a human, essentially, and that's why they're scary. They're seen as scary in this.
Mhm. Do we want to discuss the whole ending fiasco?
Yeah, let's do that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because holy shit, does the U.S. ending suck?
Yeah.
The U.S. ending, they cut off the very end of the movie because apparently it was too dark for audiences. So they left the U.S. ending with something that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and it's complete shit. And shame on the distributors for not putting the UK ending, because I feel like I would have walked away much more satisfied with the UK ending straight off film and searching it up on YouTube.
Yeah, it sucks that like I wouldn't have known about the ending unless you said something like, "Hey, go watch this ending." I'm like, "Wait, what?" And the fact that they would release such a complete story to a different part of the world makes me very angry. And I think like someone was talking about it earlier in the discussion about how it really just ties together that crazy, like the psychological like aspect of them really going crazy, and the main character going crazy after the car crash and after going through all the trauma she just like had in the cave. And in the US ending, you can kind of take the US ending as sort of complete if you think about it, because she's like unconscious for a second, and then when she wakes up, it's like sunlight and sense in reality, and then she crawls out to her car, and when the camera tilts up, you see her daughter, like a hallucination of her daughter, I guess, in the
Oh,
passenger.
that was
That was
what,
June, right?
Oh,
June.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, Juno. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Juno. And that could be like a reference to her like still unconscious, because every other time you saw her like hallucinations or her being like that frightened is in her like unconsciousness, is when she's asleep. So that basically just tells you that she never actually found her way out of the cave and she's still down there. She never actually got out. Um, but I think it's so much more complete, almost like a Shutter Island type of deal. Like you really get to see what's going on inside the heads, and yeah, I really enjoyed the UK version a lot more.
yeah, it's just such a stupid cut to black in the US version. It's like, and then I'm like, wait, what? What? With the UK version, all that quick cutting happens, but then they give this long, extended, slow, like, it leaves you feeling much more desolate because there's this slow pull back, dolly back on just her in that empty cave left to die. And it feels much more creepy, and like it cuts to the card of all them on that picture much better. Like
Yep.
it flows better, and it's so much creepier that way. And the US ending is just a piece of shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Also,
Mm-hmm.
kind of about what you're saying with like quick cuts. Like when she like hits her head and then like Brendan was saying, she wakes up, sees the light, and goes out. The pacing changes drastically, and like not only does she see the light, she gets out of the cave, finds her car, she's driving away, like she yaks. Just like really kind of like yeah, a trash ending. But if she wakes up in the cave again, I feel like that pacing would kind of make sense because it's like, oh, like she was dreaming, hallucinating, whatever.
Yeah.
Cam, I completely agree. I remember watching and like thinking, are these cuts like I'm like, did the editor just get fired like at the end of the at the end of the like cutting. Like I like that literally is what I thought. Like and then and then just someone just stepped in off the street. Like literally, I remember being like, "What the heck's going on with the pacing?" And then like you were saying, Moo, like it just the boom, it like the cuts, and I just like look around in my base and like what is going on. But like then you're saying, I love that how it's like it works so much better with the UK because then it's so slow and drawn out, like pulling back at the end with the contrast. Like it makes sense. Okay, maybe that's why that it was cut. But I remember definitely in the moment, like just being like, "What the? Why is this pace so weird?" Like I don't know. So
Yeah.
I mean, it did look pretty cool with her climbing out. Not gonna lie, like that was a pretty neat like relieving scene.
Yo,
With like just
reminded me of Anima a little bit.
yeah that yep. So
It's one of those things where because the whole movie was our eyes are adjusted to the darkness of the entire movie, how low lit it is. Like when it's like that slightly blooming effect when her hand like reaches out, you're like, oh my god, it's so freeing in that
yeah.
one moment. And they just strip that back from you in the UK version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Brendan. Speaking of Kill Bill, those both have. Look, I should do a side by. Should have done like a side by side edit that when she's buried alive, it's like like the hand comes out and it's like the dirt on the face. Yeah.
There's so many Kill Bill references. Not only
Similar. I don't know.
Juno.
Ooh, true, yo.
She's like of like Korean descent, maybe, or something along the lines of that. And Uma Thurman she resembles Uma Thurman. And I was just like, bruh, this is literally just like creepy Kill Bill. Kill Bill Volume 3.
Yeah. No.
Give me one sec. I got some notes here that I might want to
Nice.
bring up.
Yo, I don't know if you remember, but what a cool shot it was. Also, when they first come down the cave, like deep.
Yeah.
Remember, it was super wide and like it just.
Oh
looked really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I was like, wow, like you just see it come down like a spider or something. Like, I remember it being like, hold up.
That reminded me of it,
Oh, really?
like that cave.
There's a moment in the score. This is such a small thing, but there's a small moment in the score where all of a sudden it sounds exactly like the Thing soundtrack, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And it's like boom, boom. I'm like, wait a minute. But then I didn't think any of it. I'm like, that's just coincidence because I mean, it's impossible to not accidentally stumble upon a similar sounding score once in a while. But it also turns out apparently that the Thing was an inspiration for this movie. So I'm thinking, could that have just been a small homage to the movie with that music? But who
I see
knows?
the inspiration there.
The Thing is inspiration for like every movie.
Yeah, true.
Yo, what a neat. I really think the soundtrack was actually pretty decent in my opinion. Like
So do I.
it was like it's interesting because if you listen to it, like it has these kind of like very happy, like peaceful. Like listen to that. Like that could have gone with like a nature documentary or something.
Yeah,
Then-
sure.
Yeah.
I just see some drone footage
Like
over.
it's like oh shoot, like it's like almost constantly going back and forth between like just a fun like crazy kind of hiking thing. Cave, like cave, whatever they call it. I forget what it's called. Rock climbing, to like this really mysterious. I remember like feeling very haunted by the music alone throughout. Like something about it was really, really strange. But yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel really. Oh wait, what was that, Brendan?
You're gonna talk about the green hospital scene when she like runs out and the lights start
Oh, that
shutting
was
off.
good. That was
like
sick.
she's like,
Yeah,
oh, bro,
That wide
sick.
shot. Yeah.
yeah, that was a cool sequence. Another jump scare I thought was quite stupid on the false jump scare things was like when she went to the window and got like impaled in her vision. I'm like, the jump scare doesn't mean anything to the story.
Yeah,
It's like it's her being haunted by her past. I get that, but it doesn't need to be a jump scare because that relieves some tension for a solid like 20 minutes after.
Yeah.
I mean, it was low key scary, but you're right. Like, it doesn't really add much besides like
It was scary.
And it
I was like-
robs like significance from the other jump scares. Like use it sparingly. You only have so much to like
Yeah.
catch the audience off guard. And like another one, when the friend drops down from the ledge, and it's like, oh no, scary. Like she like comes out next to her and it pans over really quick. It's like, dude, like this just didn't need to happen. Like there's no need. It's just
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
in
I thought-
oh, go ahead, Croft.
I was just gonna say real quick, like I thought actually a nice element that kind of added a creepy effect, like casually, was how main character continued to hear these weird like giggles and like hallucinations when they were down there, and everyone's like, well, granted that was supposed actually hallucinations of her with a daughter, but then when she claims to see the monsters, no one believes her. It's
Mhm.
really like I don't know, eerie.
Yeah. I also like there's like a cliche in horror movies when like the main character is seeing the monsters and everyone's like, "Oh, I don't believe you. I don't believe you." I like how they got past the whole "I don't believe you" step in like literally 10 minutes, and then that jump scare happens and they're like, "I believe it," and that actually helps the jump scare come across better because like usually you'd be expecting you're like, all right, so this is the point where she starts seeing things, so there's probably going to be another 20 minutes of them like constantly denying her of her whatever she saw, but it happens literally like 5 minutes later. They're like, nope, you did see some shit. So I thought that worked pretty effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Was spooky.
Yeah.
There's some spooks.
Yeah.
Like the false scares would be much more offensive if the rest of the movie wasn't so competently made and like had other elements of horror in mind with how they use shadows and some of the great imagery of like I remember there was one really great shot like earlier in the movie when they're in the caves where there's some characters in the foreground and really far off in the background you see the crawler dude out of focus and I'm like, wow, that was a very effective shot.
Oh, what was out of focus?
One of the crawler dudes like very early on was out of focus, like moving in the background of a very early shot, and like it's something you can easily not catch, but those types of scares are really effective in the sense that it's almost like it's something that you should not be seeing right now versus a jump scare where it's literally in your face, but if you're catching something that should not be there, that I find very chilling sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the blood pool and the little apocalypse now rising out of the blood type thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I like that. And I like the fire too, the use of like because you got these glow sticks and it's like, oh, that's cool, but then you bring out the torches and it's like, oh, we're amping it up to the next level. So
Yeah.
I
That's cool.
appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I dig that whole sequence actually. It was some good stuff, well shot and all that. The as we've mentioned many times, the effect work when she's killing those crawlers, incredible stuff. The effect work is mind-blowingly good. This is the type of horror movie that I can see myself easily recommending to people
Yeah.
because it's a mainstream enough horror movie where it has your traditional horror elements with like the excessive jump scares and whatnot, like the creepy. Like it's an effective mainstream horror movie, and I can easily see myself like telling people to watch this over something like The Witch, which I absolutely love, but I know many people wouldn't appreciate The Witch like people who like films and weird shit like that too.
Yeah, low-key, even like thinking about Midsummer, like a lot of people would probably prefer something like The Descent.
Oh,
Yeah.
most
Like Midsummer is, as you said, like falls with the more non-traditional category.
Yeah. This is like as someone said it earlier, they're like it's like basically an action movie with a few jump scares. It's like that it's bridging that gap between, like action and drama and tying some horror into it. It's a nice movie, I think, right now, because especially for me, to start getting into the horror realm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any other things we want to touch upon?
Mhm.
What do we think of the performances? We didn't even talk much about the acting, actually.
Yeah.
I personally thought that the main chick was good. The rest, debatable.
Trash, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
I
Uh,
I'd say there was some good moment. Oh, what were you saying, Croft?
no, sorry, continue.
I'd say there was like some good moments here and there, but like for the most part, a lot of their line delivery was annoying. I really did not like the super rebellious character, whatever her name was. That was
Well,
like,
Ollie,
Oh,
yeah, she was
yeah.
annoying the heck out of me.
I don't know. As far as the acting, something that stood out to me, like, you know how she's driving away in the car at the end, and she stops and is crying and yaks out the window. For some reason, I felt very let down by her scream. I was expecting like a screech. Like that was just one little thing, but I thought she was a good actor or actress. But besides that, like,
I like the lead role a lot.
Yeah, she did a good job.
Yeah, I won't talk too down on acting for one because a lot of that has to do with the writing of the dialogue, and for two, I cannot act for shit, so I'll talk about acting.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the writing in the beginning, just like, I don't know, it just set such a poor tone that like the movie had to make it up to me later, which like it does, but I just wish it really stuck to its strongest suits and didn't mess with all the cliches and
Yeah.
just like if I were a less attentive movie watcher, I might say, all right, fuck this movie. Like this beginning is just not pulling me in. Whereas, you know, if you go through and you actually take the time to watch it, it redeems itself. But I
Mhm.
just have a hard time at the beginning and with a lot of the writing. But
Agreed.
The nice thing about horror movies is that a lot of times it lends itself to a very easy motivation and a very primal motivation for our characters in the sense that it's like survive. So I always liked horror movies in that regard where like there's a clear motivation no matter like what you're doing because it's something that everyone can easily relate to. Like if you're in a situation where it's life or death, you're going to do anything to survive. And I always find that a fun motivation to play with for characters.
yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, great point.
That doesn't use not fleshing out characters enough. Like even if a character has good motivation, it's always much nicer to really have more fleshed out characters, which I saw a bit in the main character here and there, and like that whole like affair thing. Even though that shit was predictable as freak, but
Hmm.
good. Anything more before we give it ratings?
I
Mhm.
think we're good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Are we gonna
All
do
right.
of the U.S. or UK?
Ooh.
The UK. The US one does not exist for all I know.
yeah, we're
Mm-hmm.
Well, sorry, I just cut out. What did you guys say?
The US one does not exist. The UK is the
Yep.
only one that exists. So we'll rate the UK one.
All right.
Yeah.
Would anyone like to start off the ratings?
I mean, I'll give a rating if you want.
Oh, please do, sir.
All right.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I feel like I could definitely see myself, like you see, recommending this. Maybe even watching it again for those scenes that with the claustrophobia kind of stuff and like all that neat. Just looking at the sets again, I think there's a lot of stuff that's like really pleasing to the eye in a way. I thought it was really unique too. Honestly, I've never seen a movie about like the climbing like this, and I thought it was really it was really unique. Like just getting to see that, like just any concept and just to take on in general, especially something so like claustrophobic and tight. Like they I think they pulled it off really well. But yeah, I think I'd give it like a 7 out of 10 is my rating for it.
Ooh, does anyone else want to go next?
Maraschino.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I share a lot of similar opinions that to Michael, and I think I really do appreciate like all the work and the time that was put into each shot, and every single shot had a meaning and a deeper meaning to it. And if you didn't necessarily catch that on the first watch, I'm sure if you look deeper into it, you will. And I enjoy like deep meanings underneath the actual story that you might grasp on the first watch. And like I said, I love the lighting, set design, the writing, not too much, but that was mostly just for like characters. And besides that, I really do enjoy the make of like the monsters and how they don't really look like monsters and how they like resemble humans. And with all that said, I'd probably give it like a 7.5.
Ooh,
Nice.
Mason, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So I don't know, maybe I've just become like too jaded with a lot of like horror movies. Like during middle school I watched an immense amount of horror movies, and I'm definitely, as you guys were saying, the setting, the environment, very impressive, and for that I might be pushed to watch it again. But besides that, I just think I can find better examples for most aspects of it in other movies that don't frustrate me as much in terms of what we've mentioned before. But I think in terms of the film's, endeavoring to find something new and go into a location that hasn't been explored as much, I definitely respect it. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5.95, but we'll leave it at an easy 3 stars out of 5. So that's where I'm at.
All right. For me, the biggest issues with the film are probably, as I mentioned, exposition and the characterization. And along with that, as an extension, the writing, as you guys have said. But I thought this film was like shot pretty beautifully, with some of the lighting, the darkness. This is tough.
It's really hard.
I know, and like my horror movie knowledge is not super extensive, so
Yeah.
probably give this a 7.77 repeating.
Wow.
nice.
Good number.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed myself watching this movie. I want to rewatch it to see, because now that I know what the pros of the movie are, I want to see if those outweigh the cons in the beginning. Like, if the beginning feels faster, knowing that in a little bit it's going to get better, I want to see how it holds up on rewatch. So, like, I can't give, like, I'm going to give a rating, but obviously it's bound to change on rewatch. I liked it. I always appreciate when a mainstream horror movie is actually a pretty good movie, whereas most mainstream horror movies are pure schlock. So I enjoyed it. I had fun. Phenomenal production design and lighting. 7 out of 10 sounds pretty good to me. Could be a 6, could be an 8. Who knows what happens on the rewatch? But 7 is pretty good.
7.
Yeah. Nice.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I got a recommendation for next week. So I was browsing through Prime. I thought, why not cover a more relevant film on the podcast? Because why not? There's a lot of good movies out there, and we're gonna. If you've seen this movie, Mason, then I'm gonna change the recommendation. All right.
Good. Sounds like a plan.
All right. So the movie from 1967, In the Heat of the Night.
Haven't seen it. We're on.
Cool. Sidney Poitier, or however you say his name, one of the best actors of all time. It's a movie that I will not tell you what I think about it, but we're gonna watch it. It's a good watch given this country's state of affairs. So yeah, In the Heat of the Night. It's on Amazon Prime.
All right.
Fantastic.
And like that. Damn. Oh.